so I can practice my case 3 recovery at night, which is pretty tough. But we're going to record this and maybe turn it into a YouTube video for later. So the main thing about this is that we're flying at night, so it's pretty tough trying to find the carrier. So you pretty much got to fly this thing on the instruments to locate the carrier and try to get a bad weather or night operations recovery. So this is what they call a case 3 recovery, and you'll see the difference between that and the normal daylight with good conditions. Just setting this thing up first before we leave. Let's set up my air-to-air. And TGP. Hit a ground, see what we need there. We've got our TGP. We don't need a TGP, but it's nice to have one. We don't need the HSD. Let's set up a weapons page, and that's all we need. Also set this to C mode so we can find the enemy fleet, and set the carrier low, 60 feet is the height of the carrier deck, and step point to auto. TACAN channel should be 015. Flaps to steer well. Okay, we've got 1, 2. Okay, we'll let them take off. I'm going to turn this volume control right down or off because I do not fancy being jumped around all over the deck. So before we take off, we'll just make sure that stick the landing lights on. So we're going to follow this one here. I'm going to do a short takeoff, and see the other ones have probably, yeah, one is left. We've only got two harpoons, so we're light enough to be able to do a short takeoff. So let's get ourselves up to 50 degrees nozzle, and yeah, let's take off. Flaps are down. Okay, we're doing 110 knots, good. Keep it above the horizon. Not too steep though, and gradually drop the exhaust angles back to 10 at a time, gaining speed, 20, 10, 0, flaps up, and gear up. Okay, looking good. So let's put our so we can
Caddy 2 airborne 4 ship AV-8B 2000.
Caddy 2, departure, fly heading 015, resume on navigation.
so we'll switch to tactical channel 6 and into step point 2, and we're going to get ourselves up to about 12,000 feet. Well, actually 16,000 is ideal, but anything up there is fine. Let's check our errors. Got one error. Okay, we're going to fence in. Push into 12,000 feet. Step point 4 is the where the fleet is, so we'll be switching to that as soon as we get to 16,000. Level in out. Drop the spotlight. Okay. Alright, so we'll switch to air to ground, see what we can see. So we're going to switch to step point 4. There's the carrier fleet. Now, normally the trailing ship tells you which end of the fleet is heading. So I would say that the top one will be the Chinese carrier. So what we'll do is we're going to set a mark point when we get a bit closer. So when we get close to 60 miles, that's what you need a minimum range is 60 miles before you can actually deploy the harpoons. So we're not going to bother. This will change and move before we get there. So the main thing is to stay level, keep everything level, maintain our speed, and just check, make sure everything here is ready. So TGP is not going to really show you much because we're not going to be close enough. But it's quite handy having that little indicator there, tell you what the range is. And yeah. So for now, we're going to just focus on setting up, counting down to 60 miles, and we're going to set a mark point. So this is a different way to do it than I normally do it. So select 7, and then you use the right arrow key to switch, toggle to the TGP, the O, whatever that is, and the FCR, which is what we want. FCR. We haven't set the step point yet, we're just setting it up. So now I'll move this cursor around. So when I'm ready to set the mark point, I will just adjust that cursor and hit that TMS up, and then we'll set that as our target. "74 miles. So they're firing already.
Bruiser. Bruiser. 1 out. Bruiser. Bruiser.
70 miles.
Bruiser. 2 out. 3 out.
"66 miles. So I'll probably set that step point or the mark point when I get down to 62. It should give me enough time to adjust the steering. "62, there we go. Okay, so let's set the mark point. Mark points, and hit 0 to change the autopilot to lock in on that step point. Page up to reset the cursor.
Caddy 2-2 on my way.
What the hell was that buzzing me?
Caddy 2-3-2, we are heading home.
So we're going to now set up our TGP, power on the harm, not the harm, the harpoon, and wait for the missile ready warning light message to go off. Once that goes off, we can pickle. Pickling. Why is that not working? Just because we've got the master armors off. It's a bit stupid. That was a screw up. Okay, waiting for the next one. So you've got to switch the master arm on. This sort of shit can get yourself killed. So we're getting closer to the fleet, not happy about that. Firing, second one. Okay, let's get out of here.
2 in position.
Step point 1, let's go back.
Passing. Passing.
Okay, I don't really care what's happening there. So we're heading back to the carrier, 56 miles out from the carrier. So we're going to do a case 3 recovery. This is case 3 as opposed to a case 1 recovery, which is in sunny and clear conditions. Daylight, in other words. That would be your normal case 1 recovery, which is fairly standard. This is a case 3, so this is flown by instruments, and so you've really got to follow the instruction from the ATC to be precise with this. But I've worked out a few little things that I can do to help me locate that carrier. Okay, so we can see we're in C mode. I'll be setting up a mark point onto the carrier if I can. Main thing is to spot it. So we want to get ourselves down to a marshal area, which is altitude would be around about 6,000 feet. Start there. We may have to go to 9,000 feet. It depends on what the LSO, what queue it puts you in. So, but you definitely want to be descending. Closer you get to the, probably from about 30 miles out, you want to be descending down to at least 6,000 feet from 30 mile mark. So there's the fleet. This is the WASP fleet. So somewhere to work out where the WASP is, more than likely you look for the straggler at the back there. That's normally the rear of the fleet. So the WASP will most likely be out the front somewhere usually. So it's possibly that one there. Sometimes it could be this one here, but it's more likely to be this one out the front. It's usually the lead ship in the group. That's the default configuration. So we're going to leave it till we get down to probably 20 miles, and then I'm going to set a mark point on that point. You've got to remember the fleet's moving, so it's not going to stay there, but it'll give you a rough indicator of where it is. So if we were to reset this page up, that's pointing at step point 1. Okay, that's where we originally took off. That's where the carrier was when we started this mission. So you can see how far it's moved. So step point 1 really is no use to us other than sort of a rough indicator of where the fleet might be, and you can see it's moved quite a bit. So what we're going to do is we can't make a call to the tower until we get to at least at least 30 miles. I don't really want to make a call until I get a bit closer. But what we can do is start moving, descending to get ourselves down to roughly 7,000, 6,000 feet, something like that. So the case 1 recovery the DME is 21 nautical miles from the rear of the ship. That's normally the first one in the queue, and then at 6,000 feet, 21 nautical miles from the rear of the ship is when that's your holding pattern. If it's multiple aircraft trying to land, then they're going to be separated by 1,000 feet. So it'll be 7,000, 8,000, 9,000 feet if you have, say, four jets waiting to land. So what I normally do is set this thing to initially come in at 7.5 to 7,000 feet, maybe less. Gonna level out at, let's come in at 6.5 this time. Okay, 6.5. Now we're 22 miles out. I'm going to set a step point before I make the call. A mark point. Now I reckon that is the carrier. I'm just a guess. So I'm going to hit 7. TMS, not TMS, arrow key right, TGP and FCR. And we're going to set that. Basically find that, where is it? Well, I'm not going to be able to do this, so we're just about right on that carrier, so let's do it. Do the call to the carrier. Need to be on channel 4. And we're going to do a call inbound mother. One, inbound mother. Yep. Okay, bearing 211. That's the one we want to put. Okay, so marshal on 031. So we're going to set the bearing to
Caddy 201, gray ship, AV-8B, 30 miles, northeast, 18,000, inbound for landing. Caddy 24, turn right heading, 030, climb to 30,000. Caddy 21, weather is 5,000 scattered, visibility 30 miles.
Okay, so the BRC of the carrier is 211. 031. So we're going to head in direction of 031. So we're going to set the TACAN. Zero 031, I think the heading was. C.
Caddy 23, marshal out, 8,000. Caddy 22, marshal out, 7,000.
031 was the heading.
Caddy 21,
6,000. Yep, we'll do that. 63031. There we go. So let's get down to 6,000. Just going to hold that pattern until we get Charlie. Basically a Charlie call, which is it's a reference bearing and permission to commence the approach. So the approach will be 211. 015, climb to I've been moved in the queue. I'm no longer at 6,000, I'm at 9,000. So 015 was the bearing. Just try to maintain that. And I'm coming up to 9,000 feet, so I'm going to set heading to hold and try and maintain 9,000 feet. Oh, 15. There we go.
Warning.
That's me. Bearing 208. Okay, so bearing 208. Let's do that. 208. 208. Let's keep turning. Okay, that's probably around about here, I would imagine. 208, close to it. 208, let's see if we can adjust this a bit. We're heading down to, we just want to do a gradual descent. 204, 205. 208. So we keep going down. Descent, gradual descent down to 5,000 feet. We're going to pull out a little bit and level out at 5,000. So there's 208. So let's get down a bit more. 5,000 coming up. Okay, so just pull up a bit. Alright, so let's do the call to report the platform. Report platform. Switch. Okay, that's what you want to hear. Switch to tower. And that means we can keep descending. 211 is the, let's put on our, so somewhere out there is the carrier. We've got to pick it out, try and pick it out. So let's get our speed down. Okay, so I can see some lights out here to the right. It's most likely the carrier. So let's see, that's probably the carrier. So there we go, we see a row of lights, that's the carrier. Okay, so what we need to do from here is actually work out get our airspeed down. And let's set up our flaps to STOL. Landing gear needs to come down when we get to about 250 knots. So we'll put our nozzles to 60. And speed is under 240, so we can put our gear down.
Caddy, 24, fire needle.
Right, and now we can fly those needles. Okay, let's have a look. Can't quite see the carrier. Let's come in around a bit. Okay, there's the carrier. Looks like we're lining up those lights. Okay, keep that flight path marker up above the horizon. We want to be putting it onto the carrier. So we're 120 feet, a little bit low. So let's get ourselves up. Let's go to 70. Let's go to 80. So we're up to 300 feet. And let's pull the nose up and drop the throttle at the same time. Wash off a lot of speed. So I'm not going to go any higher than 80. I should be able to control this from here. All I'm interested in doing at the moment is lining up that runway, those lights, so they're sort of directly in front of me. At the moment they're sort of a little bit angled, so push out to the right a little bit. Get that. $170, it's not too bad. So the main thing is to control that speed with the throttle. It's all done with the throttle. So we can see our speed is down to this is the most difficult thing you can do at night. We're doing a night operation. We're going to do a vertical landing in a Harrier. It's possibly one of the hardest things to do in BMS. So it's the first time doing it. So, well, it's not the first time, but it's to see if we can get a successful trap. Okay, so this is perfect. Coming up on the left-hand side of the carrier, maintaining that flight path marker, 150 feet. Now, I really want to see, let's tone this down a bit so I can see. We're going to slow this up a bit. It's better. It's about stalling out. Okay, so pretty close. Let's bring this down a bit. What about throttle control? And also managing that flight path marker so it's steady, it's not wandering all over the place. You can have little movements like this is better than erratic, huge movements. It's too hard to control. So problem is the carrier's moving at 20 knots and you're trying to move forward as well to match the carrier speed, as well as trying to translate across the last minute. So it's not easy. And then you've got to land it. So you can see we're matching the carrier speed, we're just about stationary. But I need to inch forward. Now I want to translate it to the right, so I'm just going to roll a little bit. The stick. See that thing's going across. And then we're going to roll it back a little bit to compensate and bring it back on the center line. And we're just over the top of the 7 landing spot on the carrier. So we want to really, from here, we're going to go down and bring it down gradually at 80, 70, and then just cut that throttle. That's almost perfect. Okay, nozzles back to 0. And let's move off the deck. I would make a call to the tower for to request taxi back to the ramp, but it tends to glitch and destroys the nose wheel steering sometimes, so I'm not going to do it until we stop. Okay, so there we go. Shucks in place, EP safety pin in place. Switch channels to the ground channel and T4.
Caddy. 2-4, taxi to the left. You're cleared all the way in.
Okay, all good. So that's close to perfect at night. Case 3 recovery in pretty dark conditions. That's about as difficult as it gets. So if you can manage that, I would say you're a pretty good Harrier pilot in BMS. So this is Kev signing out. And we also managed to kill the Sovereignty. So that's alright. Killed one of the because I was in the position 4, so 4th man. What have these guys done? They've just damaged these. Yeah, they sort of damaged it. The real target was the carrier, which they hit twice. And yeah, so that carrier requires at least 4 to 5 harpoons to sink it. But it's a success anyway, so it's pretty good.